what is oversight on SIGA, and for that matter, oversight on our SEs has been over the period. And he has clearly indicated that hitherto you have these entities which put together is around 175. They are not showing transparency by way of reporting. And before you can even assess the profitability of an entity, they must report, not just report, audited reports. That is verifiable, that is concrete, and that is acceptable. And if you check the data, you realize that in 2016, only 2 out of the 175 entities presented their audited reports. So all these questions that you are asking, if we had not had SIGA in place, we so far has been able to move to close to, even as we speak, and we are talking about 55. But by the end of the year, you clearly see that almost 130 SEs out of the 175 have been audited by the Auditor General. This clearly has shown and has given rise to massive transparency and accountability to the people of this country. Because, come to think of it, you have these entities having amongst them close to almost 1 trillion Ghana cedis in terms of assets. And nobody knows what they are doing with these assets. There was a question about profitability. Just contribution to GDP in 2020 was around 50 billion. By 2022, it has risen to 419 billion. And you know what? It's because in terms of reporting of the activities, in terms of getting their audited financial statements, we can capture and know their contribution to GDP. Hitherto, we weren't having it. So, if you check their contribution to the national accounting, what now the nation is doing is to prepare an account not only for central government, we are preparing an account for central government, SOEs or SEs, and the metropolitan and district assemblies. You'll be surprised to note that in terms of total assets, the metropolitan and district assemblies hold more assets than the central bank, the central government. And these assets are in terms of schools, they've built in terms of market centers, in terms of investment they've made on the ground that are making a lot of profits. So when we are unable, and how do you determine the accounts of these SOEs? It is when they've prepared their accounts, when it is audited, when they've been able to sit down with SIGA, who relate to them in terms of determining their performance beforehand, monitor them to ensure that they perform as agreed on parameters that we all agree on. And that has been a massive. I don't know whether you've read the Auditor General report for this year. And it's striking. And so sometimes the media get frustrated if very important issues that have the potential of helping this nation to move on is rather relegated to the background. If you have a nation that irregularities detected in 2022 was around 15 point something billion, just within a year it has reduced, particularly in the SOE space, it has reduced to 8.8 billion. A massive 41.46% reduction of irregularities. And what is so gratifying about these irregularities are that about 90 to 92% of these irregularities are irregularities that are recoverable. It means that if you even take the 88 point something billion, find 90% of it, almost about 7.5% billion Ghana cedis is recoverable to the state. So instead of even just concentrating on which profit are they making, if they made those losses, it's the same. It's the opposite of profit, it's losses. So if they are making huge losses, 15 billion, and now they've been able to reduce the losses or irregularities by 41%. What it means is that we've gained 41% in terms of financial gains to the nation.
Is SIGA on course to achieving?
I think that we, so far for the 5 years, we've done massively well. Because for you to be able to move under a situation where it was difficult for even SEs to accept that they need to be oversighted. It was difficult for them to come to you for performance contract negotiations, which now, as we speak now, for 2023, we are going to have about 79 of them. So far, we've received close to 147, both financial and non-financial reports that will form part of our SOR that we are finishing this month. For the first time, we are current on the preparation of our state ownership report. And I will urge all of you to go to our website by the end of this month so that you can do proper assessment of what is happening. You see, one thing that we fail to do as a nation, that over the years, as the world changes, we are still in our old ways of doing things. The mandate and the idea for setting up these SOEs have changed. We normally will bash the Oil refinery. The truth is that the Oil refinery was set up at a point where the Italians were the one who were the main players in the oil distribution industry, and they were determining prices and all that. Government felt that no, because it really affects the economy, instability in prices, and its effect. So let us have TOR. Then TOR came into play. At that time, it wasn't set up to make profit. It was set out to ensure that there's stability and accessibility and affordability of oil products for the people of this country. As a result, when prices of crude oil increases in the world market, government at that time would say, don't pay, I'm subsidizing, and I'll pay. The government end up not paying. So this has been accumulated losses over there. I'm not discounting inefficiencies. But that forms just a little. Even the mere fact of inefficiency shows that the company itself is not changing to changing types. You understand? And so over the years, you are accumulating losses. We were enjoying as Ghanaians. We were enjoying the lower prices. They are accumulated losses. They've gone to banks. They've taken loans that they are unable to pay. Their machines have deteriorated to a level that they cannot. They retrofit a little and they are unable, because modern machines of refinery are not the 1965 ones we are seeing there. So obviously they cannot be as efficient as modern way of refinery. There's no refinery now in the world that can even break even if they are unable to produce 100,000 barrels a day. Our whole capacity is 45,000 barrels a day. Even that in a year, they cannot produce more than 3 months without breaking down. So at the word go, they will make losses.
So why don't they shut it down?
It's the same question. You have a situation where over the years, we've been accumulating losses. We've not been changing to changing times. Technology has been down. You have what we call worker groups. You are the same people when they put on the red bands, you go and cover and show that government is not doing what he has to do and all that. I think that politically, we've all not done well. Because I can't see why certain entities should still be on our books. Because things have changed. For instance, you have a company existing now called Ghana Supply Commission. Who does they do supply to? We now have, we didn't used to have procurement laws, we didn't use so now we have PPA and the central tender committee and all that. So nobody, an SOE will go to Ghana Supply Commission, supply me. What are they going to supply? So their continuous existence in itself is a drawback on the assets of the country. So that's why if you check, we've put together based on their assets, their relevance, and their potential for making a profit, these 16 entities. Some studies have been done, but this one wants a comprehensive study of these entities that contribute close to 80% of the losses and hold almost about 80% of assets. The 800 and something billion you are talking about, just about 10 or 15 of them hold that about 80% of those assets. What it means is that if we improve on just these 10, in terms of reducing losses and making profit, the effect will be higher. We must also recognize that some of these entities are necessarily not set out to make profits, because their mandate is said that they are to provide services and help to regulate activities of government for us to have our peace as a nation. So you have MPA, you have FDA, Standards Board, PURC, and all that. Even though they are not expected to make profit, and normally some of you did a bit of business, non-profit making organizations still have to prepare their accounts because they operate as entities. The only difference is that they don't make profit, they make surplus or deficit, and profit organization make profit or loss. It's almost the same. So efficiency, transparency, all these things are things that must be determined and should be able to be monitored. And the kind of assets in their hands, some of you are not even interested, because you don't even know in the first place. But if you know, there are areas that we can also recoup money in order to support the government revenue. That's why our projection is that SOEs or SEs in total should contribute about 30% GDP of the country. And it is doable. There are lots of examples. You see, people who talk without knowing, they don't know because, one, they saw that SOEs made loss of 8 billion or irregularities of 8 billion. It's enough to go to market. They didn't know that a year before they made 15.5 billion. They didn't know that 2 years before they made over 20 billion. They didn't know that even 10 years ago, we didn't even know the losses they were making. But they were not reporting. You understand? So I think that people who are expected to know, like the Franklin Kujueko, should just come walk to the office or go to our website and know what exactly these young men and women are doing for this nation. And I can assure you.
So like the example you cited, the Ghana Supply Commission, what are you doing? What steps are you doing to ensure that some of these entities that are not necessarily set up to make profit,
that their mandates have outlived the modern? We are presenting a report to cabinet, because on our own we cannot delist them. We are presenting a report of all these entities that we think that their mandates have outlived modern system of running businesses.
We also say that instead of collapsing or privatizing these companies, why don't we also check terms of references for those CEOs or MDs who are not fulfilling their terms of references?
So, if, for instance, if you don't bring in or inject massive capital to even not capital, not to just build a new refinery, maybe collapse the refinery, build a new brand new, because what is there is 1960 something refinery. Look at, you see, if you have a company, there are other aspects of their work that can be done by a private person. Do you understand? Or private entity.
The managers are not fulfilling.
It is not, you see, like it is. If you throw money to them, because one, the business model has changed, there's nothing they can do about it. You understand? So it is a decision that government itself must take in order to ensure that they are put in a right, or they are put into an arrangement that they can meet modern ways of doing things. So, for instance, even their employment level, no refinery of that nature employs the number of people they employ. You understand? So it will come to a point that will come to you as the media, that irrespective of profits that are made or losses that are made, we still have labor unions who knows. For instance, if you go to TOR, every month their operating expenses alone is 8 million Ghana cedis. Operating expenses, that's the administration, and you need to keep the machine running, their salaries, their this, their that, just 8 million. Ask yourself whether they are able to make 8 million a month. But labor union will not be interested in it. They will be asking for increase in profit and all that, and expect that government will bring additional money. That additional money is just to pay off debt. That's all. So I think that we are in a good place. We should have time to have more of these discussions and have time to be able to assess what is being done, the massive improvement of some of the SEs, and some who are not also doing well. Because if, as we speak now, our Act has been in place for 5 years, the PFM Act is there, you are an entity, you know that every year you must go for a performance contract negotiation with SIGA, and you are not doing it, and you are happy. And sometimes you go to them, they tell you, we are the best performing this. Best performing this against what? They may have not even prepared their financial statement. You don't ask for it. You organize awards and give them awards. Companies that for 4 years, 5 years have not prepared financial statement, the media will be propping them up because maybe you are okay with the chief executive or whatever. It's not helpful. It does not. But if you have the list, go to them and ask them, why is it that for the past 5 years, 10 years, you've never negotiated for your performance beginning of the year and being evaluated at the end of the year? You've never prepared your financial statement. On what basis are you making profits? For instance, there are a lot of the company for 6 years, they've never prepared any financial statement. But they are the ones you people are propping up. Because we are not looking at the right things to be looking at. We are not looking at their performance based on either their profit or reducing losses and all that. So I think that it's important this interaction continues to go.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe,
and click on the bell for more updates.